And today I'm going to be playing Streamlabs. It allows you to experiment with the different wands and such. And I believe to get the Spell Lab wand to work, you need to have Go Keys things. So I have that. So I just press this in the top right and then enter the Spell Lab. And I'm here now. Okay, so challenge picker. Start out from the beginning and then go all the way to the end. Alright, wand building basics introduction. Okay, so deal 50 or more total damage to the target dummy. Okay, so and then put a projectile on your wand and shoot the target dummy. Okay, which one should we put? Damage 3 damage, 5 damage. So I'm guessing that one. So I added them to the wand. Now I'm going to challenge complete. Deal 50 or more total damage. Okay. And now the second challenge, wand building basics, cast delay, deal 75 or more per second. So it seems that I have about the same selection. Cast delay is the time between individual spell casts. Wands have a natural cast delay, which is supposed to be applied to every cast. Projectiles have their own cast delay modifier. Could be good or bad. So I'm probably gonna want with the best combination of speed and damage. Let's see which one that is. Speed. This one still seems like it has the best one. Best damage is what I mean. Okay, so let's see if this can do 50 damage per second. No, it cannot. Yeah, it's not quite enough. Highest DPS 60. So why is it not working? It has the highest damage. It's probably not having the highest speed though. Okay, so I'm gonna try this one out. It seems like the speed number is lower, I guess. I'm gonna replace the pink ones with the blue ones. So just because it has the highest damage doesn't mean it has the highest damage per second. Okay, you see? That one has way higher DPS. And then the cast delay is minus 0.017 seconds. Minus cast delay minus 0.084. And the speed number is also lower, so that must mean it's faster. Okay, so let's go to the third challenge now. Deal 200 or more total damage to the target dummy. Can you read the tips? Unlike cast delay, recharge time is applied when your wand has no spells left to cast. Wands with high recharge time are generally not very useful, though they are ways to mitigate it. Putting a lot of separate casts on a wand with high recharge time can mitigate the effect. So this has a recharge time of 1 second. What are the spells available? Same ones it seems. Let's do this one. It has the highest speed number, so must mean it's slow, I guess. Yeah, it is very, very slow. Let's try this one again. So I guess I need more of these. That should reduce the speed. I mean the recharge time, not the speed. It won't run out of spells to cast. Oh, there you go. It casts for longer when I have more of them. 3 more slots available. Alright. So that's with all those slots filled with spells. Okay, deal 150 or more damage to the target dummy in 10 seconds or less. Okay. Are these ones the same or no? Should be easy, no? I don't see why it wouldn't be. Okay, what are the tips? Switching wands will reset the casts on your wands. This trick can be used to completely negate high recharge times as long as you have more than 1 cast on your wand. Set 2 wands and switch between the wands before casting all the spells. I'm going to use those tips. I'm going to use both wands. When one is recharging with a recast time, I'm going to swap to the other one, and then by the time that one's fully used, I'll swap back and I'll never have to wait on the recharge time. Why does the time keep resetting? I'm not sure. Well, you see, each time I cast another spell, the time resets. So I don't know what the problem with that is. Okay, so instead of using all of it, like this, where it goes on recharge, what you do instead is you use like half of it, or like 3/4 of it, and then it never goes on recharge. Yeah, so that's the point of that challenge, recharge time. Okay, the 5th challenge, 1 building basic spells per cast. Deal 60 or more damage per second to the target dummy. Okay, where are the tips? Some wands cast more than 1 spell per cast. Casting multiple spells at once results in their combined cast delay being applied. Okay. Does this have... Okay, it doesn't, so I have to put that on. Still need this. Well, that seems easy. Okay, 1 building basics modifiers. Deal 30 or more damage to the target dummy in a single hit. So what is this? Increase the damage done by a projectile. I'm probably gonna do 4 of those and then 1 projectile. These are projectile modifiers versus the actual projectile. It says that under the type. So it's by a single hit. So I'm not trying to do as many as possible, just 1 very strong hit. So just like that. That one's quite simple. Self-explanatory. 1 building basics multicast 1. Deal 70 or more damage per second to the target dummy. You can use multicast spells to cast more than 1 projectile spell at a time. This can be paired with spells that have a negative cast delay to increase damage per second. Place 1 or more multicast spells before 2 or more projectile spells. 1 more. Okay. Let's see if that does the trick. Not quite. Let's see if this will make it better. It does. So it's shorter bursts instead of a continuous stream with this double spell. So if you want to do continuous damage, you'd want to replace the multicast. But if you want to do like high bursts with single shots, but they do less continuous damage, you put more multicast on. Sometimes if you have too many, it actually reduces the damage. I see for this one 2 is a good fit. 1 building basics multicast 2. Deal 70 or more damage per second to the target dummy. What are the tips? Multicast spells use 1 or more of the cast. Casting the next multicast spell. As such, 2 double multicast is not equivalent to 1 quadruple. So like 2 double spells is like equivalent to a triple, not a quadruple spell, because it uses 1 of the slots for counting as a spell. So it's like 4 minus 1, you know. Won't want that because it's low accuracy actually. Oh no, that is way too much, way too low damage. Let's see, let's do something else. Let's deal with the negative cast delay. Damage is increased slightly more, but it's still way too low. Let's do the splitter bolts. Maybe I should fill out more of these slots. That would probably give me more out of these slots worth. No, that actually lowered the damage. That will not do. This one has even higher speed, 700 compared to 500. Let's see if this does the trick or not. Pink has the best balance between damage and speed. So I gotta get close because of the high spread, but it does definitely the most damage. So from this I learned this double scatter could add more damage than this. Oh, combining them does even more damage. Let's see, 112. Okay, let's add these two back now. It's 5 actual spells and 4 multicast spells. Okay, so let's do the next challenge. Wand Building Basics Multicast 3. Deal 550 or more damage per second to the target dummy. Okay, let's read the tips. Multicasting is a single modifier with many projectiles. Can cost much less than using multiple modifiers. This is particularly effective with expensive modifiers with unique effects. Okay, damage 20, that's quite high for damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm thinking maybe 4 multicasts and then 5 actual casts. 3 more of these. Let's see if that is able to do 550 per. Not even close. Perhaps if I add 1 more of these. There we go. Awesome. And what type is this? Projectile modifier. Okay, deal 500 or more damage per second to the target dummy. The cast state is a list of the modifications your spells have made to the cast. The modifications in the cast state are amplified to all the spells in the cast at the end. Because modifications are applied last, the order of the modifiers generally doesn't matter. Okay, modifier, that is a modifier. Which one does the most damage with the best speed? 650 with 5, 600 with 7.5, 750 with 3, no that's not good. That's not good. And that is not good. It's gotta be one of these two. I'm thinking it's gotta be that one. This one has a positive cast delay, so it increases past cast delay. This one has a negative, so it reduces it. It's definitely gotta be pink. I'm adding more of these because I want it to be done in a short burst, not continuous. That's just for the challenge, nothing else. About halfway there. Let's see, quadruple. Yeah, so I just had to get lucky sometimes. Yeah, no, actually it does it consistently. I just gotta land all of them. Yeah. So it seems the best combination is multicasting with a modifier with the actual projectile. So having a balance basically. Deal 200 or more total damage to the target dummy. Wands may have permanently attached always cast spells. Always cast spells are always cast immediately before every normal cast, even if that cast is no spell. So as you can see, this has no spells and it's still casting one. It does about 12 per second. Probably this one. Best balance between speed and damage. There's no time limit on this one, so it doesn't matter as much. Alright, that was quite easy. Same challenge, just more damage. About an average of 70 damage per second. Alright, next challenge. Deal 400 or more per second. What are they? Recharge time. This is a projectile modifier. This doesn't have enough mana. It has 16 mana and the requirement for one of these is 70. How am I ever supposed to get enough mana? Alright, 400 or more. Very low accuracy. Gonna update it so it regenerates faster. Not quite, not quite. Close. So I just need a lot of mana and a lot of recharge time. Normally it'll take 1 second, but you can see I can like cast 3 in a second just about. Yeah, that much, 540 in 1 second. That challenge was kind of confusing. Deal 230 or more damage per second to the target dummy using only one always cast spell. What are the tips? Because always our extra casting on normal cast still occur. Do 230 per second to the dummy only using only one always cast. Okay, that's alright. How do I put a always cast on this? Okay. So that's a mechanic I didn't know about. Clicking down here to promote it. It worked, okay. Let's do this. Deal 100 or more damage per second to the target dummy. Insert static projectiles. Inert static projectiles can be given the ability to deal damage. The center point of a static projectile must collide with a target to deal damage. Homing and damage can be paired with static projectiles to make a homing familiar. A cloud of potent alcohol. Shouldn't the electricity ignite it? I guess not. Whatever. So as you can see, it doesn't, I don't have any actual damage, it's just a modifier. The projectile has no damage. That's how strong modifiers can amplify your spells. Okay, so deal 100 or more damage per second to the target dummy. Drilling shot allows you projectiles to travel through walls. Drilling shot activates on the second frame of a projectile's life. Projectiles with higher lifetimes are generally more useful as homing familiars. Higher lifetimes. How do I know if it has a higher lifetime or not? This will probably give it a higher lifetime. In that. Oh, Oh no, this is taking forever. I can't quite find out the right way to do this. Perhaps I'm doing something wrong. Perhaps the slime lasts longer. I'll try out slime instead. It works, slime does last longer, okay. It's good to know. So, slime lasts longer than the Mist of Spirits. Keep that in mind. And the longer it lasts around, the more damage you can get it off. It nearly doubled the damage. Special projectiles. Which ones are disabled? I'll skip that for now, I guess. Deal 1,500 or more damage per second to the target dummy. How much damage can I get off with just that? 180 only. Okay. Most static projectiles deal their damage every frame but die upon collision. Does that actually work? It doesn't look like it does. It does. Oh. So it looks like the arrows are all combined into one. It looks like one arrow, but it's actually 4. You see? So I had this piercing shot allows it one projectile to do multiple ticks of damage. Homing, so once it pierces, it goes back to it. Increase lifetime so that after it pierces, it doesn't just disappear. Quadruple damage, so it does all 4 of these in one arrow. And it just does all that damage. Awesome. So next challenge. Deal 60 or more damage to the target dummy in a single hit. Where are the tips? Trigger spells. Cast another spell when a certain condition is met. Trigger hit spells. Cast another spell when they can hit the world or an object. Accurate, easy to control trigger spells can be used as a delivery mechanisms for slow, awkward, or static spells. Like a delivery system, basically. Let's see if this does the trick. How much did I need to do? 60. Oh, I see. So that's the thing. Double trigger hits. They're not the main source of damage. They're like the setup for the actual damage. So you could do this with any of these. I just did that with the Death Cross. Let's try with this. Explosion. So there's no delay, it's just instant. As you can see, if I were to not use this and just the explosion, it would damage me, as you can see. Can I die? I can't. Okay. This works. 300 or more damage per second to the target dummy. Trigger spells have their own cast state, which is disregarded after the cast. Okay, their own cast state. What do you mean? Because of this, modifier spells applied inside a trigger generally don't persist outside a trigger. Oh, okay. Unlike recharge time, the cast delay is applied per cast state, so it changes. Okay, you can negate a spell's cast delay changes by casting it inside of the trigger. You gotta figure this out. Okay, so this one, what is the speed? 280? 80. And then this one is not a speed. Why is it not working? I don't know. It goes past it. I don't want it to do that. Maybe if I get closer a little bit. Okay, so that worked. So I got closer to it so for example, if I go longer, it takes longer for me to get the projectile to the target. So when I'm closer, they explode within a closer proximity of time to each other instead of spread out, and that's what I want. I want it to be in a single second to complete that challenge. This would work also. I'll probably pass 300 this way. 324. That's past the challenge. So I just got close. And I didn't have to use all of them. I just used one of them. So if I were to use more of these slots, it probably would reduce the damage a lot. That's because of the mana requirement. So instead of 2 slots, now it's 4 slots equipped. That's a huge damage difference. Alright, so let's go to the next one. Deal 750 or more damage per second. What are the tips? Trigger spells can cast multiple spells directly inside the enemy. Powerful spells tend to have high cast delay. Trigger spells. There's my trigger spell. Okay, so that'll be my trigger spell. I gotta do 750 or more. Almost, not quite though. Alright, that works. So this one explained the trigger. I use that little purple bolt to get the damage source where it is. If I were to just use it without the trigger, it would just shoot that. And it would bounce back at me a lot easier. If I use the trigger though, it's a lot less likely to bounce back at me, as you can see. And these things are especially dangerous. So these trigger spells can be used for better aim as well as for protecting yourself. Trigger multicast 2. Deal 750 or more damage per second to the target dummy. Tip: modifiers can be applied to triggered multicasts. Okay, modifiers. That'll be the trigger spell, I guess. This has 1000 to max mana. 750 or more per second. I want to test this out. Haven't used this too much. If you double click it, by the way, it instantly adds it. You don't have to drag it. Maybe it's because it's too much mana. Oh, you know what? The order of the spells matters, I think. Yeah, the order definitely matters. Let's try it with 6 like it was last time. Yeah, 918. Okay, so it was the most efficient way. It was just the wrong order. Deal 4000 or more damage per second to the target dummy. What are the tips? Triggers can negate some negative effects of some modifiers. Stacking heavy shots can lead to very powerful but slow shots. Heavy spreads, recharge time reduction is not discarded with the cast state. 1000 max mana, that's plenty. What is a damaging spell? Heavy shot greatly increases the damage at the cost of its speed. I'll just negate this with the trigger. Trigger will be first, of course. What is this? Recoil. Don't need that. 6 of those. 1, 2, 3. There we go. 1, 2, 3. And then the rest of these. Take one out. Good. First try, will it work? So I'll find out. Well, not quite, not quite. I'm going to use this Not enough damage. I top off at like 2,400. Maybe more modifiers? Yeah, the modifiers greatly enhanced it. Deal 800 or more damage per second to the target dummy. What are the tips? Hit type triggers can be re-triggered if the projectile is one that does not die in collision. Piercing shot keeps a projectile alive even after it collides with something. Can't re-trigger if it's collided with world. Piercing shots allow a re-trigger multiple times. Slow homing light trigger will allow you to re-trigger effectively. I see. I'll need that. So first the spark would trigger, will get there. And then once it gets there, it's going to activate piercing. It's going to activate all the modifiers. And then the actual projectile. Maybe the bubble one would look better. The bubble one definitely is slower. Maybe 3 bubbles would be the best damage. It goes too fast though, so it doesn't stay on the target. Sounds like it does a lot of damage, but it's really not though. Which one does more damage, by the way? Oh, okay, so I use the trigger for the actual spell, and it works good. So for this one to work properly, the modifiers had to be ordered before the trigger spell, and the trigger spell would carry on those modifiers onto the actual spell. So if the trigger spell were before the modifiers, it wouldn't work. It would just trigger, and it would just disappear. 5 damage per second, that's nothing. And vice versa, if the normal one was cast before the modifiers and the trigger, wouldn't do anything. So modifiers always go before anything else. Left being the first in order. 1032 per second. These next two are trophy ones. Seems like they're different ones. So for this one, deal 100,000 or more damage per second to the target enemy. What is it, a tip? Piercing shot activates on the second frame of a projectile's lifetime, so this means you don't want to activate piercing shot while you're too close to the target, otherwise it won't go into its second frame, it'll stay in the first frame. If I don't pick these up, they will not go away. 100,000 damage per second, that's a lot. This has 1,000 max mana. So I'm thinking the modifiers first. Probably will do this one, and then heavy shot, and then the trigger, and then the actual damage one. Let's see what damage it gets up to. Piercing shot. I need piercing shot definitely. I forgot to put that on. It disappears, that's why I didn't have it. And then once the trigger shot goes off, you'll activate the multicast. The multicast will activate the magical bolts. I'll do 6 of them. One more. Let's see how much the damage goes up. It's a lot, but not enough. Maybe humming would help. Hopefully that makes it stay on target better. It does 5,000 out of 100,000, that's still not there. Damage, more modifiers. Put the slow one last so it keeps it slow. Maxing out at 7,000, still not enough. Need it to increase by about 10,000. Not sure how to do that. Maybe another piercing so it lasts longer. Now that made the damage go down. Maybe a multicast would be better instead. Take rotate off at another damage. I should probably add heavy shot so it doesn't move around as much. That's probably better than just damage plus. 16,000, that's better, but that's still not there. Another damage plus, heavy shot. Really add those modifiers at the end of the order. Keep the slowness lasting the longest time possible. 21,000, so 5 times that and it'll be good. This one would be better since this one it says it's short-lived and the normal bubble spark is longer living, so it would last longer. Maybe get 2 casts off instead of 1, or maybe even more. Maybe homing should be at the end. Let's try the rotate instead of the homing. Rotate seems better. Maybe piercing at the end would be better since it lasts longer. No, piercing is definitely better in the front. Maybe rotating would be better in the front too. The damage seemed to go down for no reason. Maybe I'll add 2 piercing shots, make it last longer. Seems like a far away from 100,000. I'll save those for later. I'm stuck on this one. Fire 6 projectiles a second, with only these 3 available. This one seems to have the lowest cast delay. Add as many of them as possible to reduce the cast delay. That was easy. The trophy symboled ones seem to be a lot harder. 20 projectiles a second. The bubble spark seems to have the smallest number for cast delay. I think speed refers to the travel speed of the projectile, not how fast it shoots. Okay, there's definitely Lumina's drill. So the larger the negative number, the better. Not the opposite, where the smaller the negative number. If the positive number was larger, that'd be bad though. That'd make it a slower cast time. If it's a negative large cast delay, then that's good. Alright, this one's just a harder version. 50 projectiles a second. Chainsaw reduces cast delay to 0 when it's cast. Chainsaw should delay cast delay. Triple spell is already on here. Add triple spell after the triple. No, chainsaw after a triple spell. And then spark bolt. It's 6 out of 50, that's very small. Maybe all chainsaws. Yeah, the chainsaw is the fastest. Does good damage too. 1,400 per second. Critical chance. Hit the target dummy with 15% or higher critical chance projectile. Where it tips. There are no individual projectiles with a 15% chance. Projectiles spells add their critical chance to the cast state. each projectile at the end of the... Okay, so it seems that when you have one spell, it applies its own critical strike to the next projectile. Multicasting 2 spark bolts results in firing 2 spark bolts, each with 10% of the critical strike. It's gotta be magic bolt, since it has the lowest cast delay. So just multiply 5 by 4, 20% chance to crit. That's larger than the 15 required for the challenge. And then the harder version, hit the target dummy with a 50% or more higher critical chance projectile. And bloody increases your chance of critical strike by 5% or more. Oh, so for each projectile used, the blood critical chance is multiplied. Alright, just an example, okay. I missed. So use this before I go, and then you can go. Okay. Which one has the highest critical chance? They all have the same. Well, then I look at cast delay. Magic Bolt has the lowest cast delay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll use a triple instead of a double. And then 2 more. Should work with a blood. Alright. Next. Deal 150 or more damage to the target within a single hit. Tips. Casting a projectile that adds a critical chance applies that chance to the cast state. Multicasting any spell with a chance to critically hit allows all spells in the cast to critically hit. So Glowing Lance doesn't have any critical strike chance, but Spark Bolt does, and it can apply its critical strike to Glowing Lance. That's useful. 6 spells. So I'll do 1 Spark Bolt, and then the rest will be the Glowing Lance. It has low damage, but I'm using it just for the critical strike chance. So this, and then this. And then that leaves me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slots. So I just had to get really close to it. Deal 400 or more per second to the target dummy. Critical on X modifier spells. Adds a 100% critical hit chance when they activate. Critical on modifier spells stack with other forms of critical hit chance. A projectile modified with Burning Trail applies 12 seconds of the fire status to the target. So this will be the projectile. It will have a Burning Trail. A projectile always do a critical hit on burning enemies. So the blood will carry the fire, and then the fire will apply the critical hit chance. Not enough. Maybe with this it will be better. With the crit, I only go to 250, so it's still not enough. Maybe if I put the after the modifier, it should work. Definitely increases it, but not enough. Oh, it went to 420, so it's enough actually. 500 or more this time. Should be the same thing. Burning Trail, critical chance. Oh, okay, this is important. If it increases the critical strike chance beyond 100, instead of increasing the chance to crit, it increases the critical damage. Doesn't say that anywhere, that's just something to know. The only way you would know that is if you did this. So that's why I did this, so I could find out things like that. Yeah, nearly like triple or quadruple the damage. Alright, next challenge, Spell Warp. Perform a Spell Warp 5 times. A Spell Warp occurs when a spell attempts to cast another spell, but there are also no spells left to cast. Spell Warping allows you to cast spells that have already been cast before a reload makes them available again. The wand will always properly reload immediately after a Spell Warp. Proper Spell Warp requires a spell to have been previously cast. Okay. I'm not sure. Oh, so for the multicast it goes after, not before. Though that's very useful to know. Spell warp modifiers. Perform a spell warp 5 times. Increases the damage done by a projectile. So this counts as a projectile as long as there is a projectile cast before it. Alright? I'm pretty sure that these regular spells go first, since there has to be a normal spell cast first and then the trigger. Perform a spell warp that casts 3 spells at once. So the normal spells and then the multicast. It casts 3 spells, but there's only 2 spells available. See that third one? It casts 2. So to make the most efficient use out of it, you gotta have 3 spells. And then this is the multicast. Okay, makes sense. Spell warp. Cast 35 or more damage per second to the target dummy. You perform a spell warp into a multicast. Spell warping can allow you to cast your spells twice before a reload is forced. Okay, this, then this and this. I'm at 22 out of 35, so it's not quite enough. So it goes 1, 2, that's 2 spells, and then this, it goes backwards, so it does the previous 2, so that's 2, and then after this one is cast, and then it goes the next 2, so it casts 1, 1, and then this one, it goes the initial 4, so this quadruple spell will activate this one, and then this one. When the quadruple spell activates the double spell, it does these 2, and this one, so the quadruple spell activates 3. I'll show you. The first 2 are normal, then the second one is double. Up here in the top left, it shows you which spells were cast. And the next one is normal. No, that was a quadruple. So if you keep track of these, then you'll know how often you get the swap, the multicast, the spell warp, whatever it's called. Deal 45 or more damage per second to the target dummy. The 1 spells per cast are also applied when spell warp. Spells per cast doesn't spell warp on its own. 1, 2, and then this, and 1, 2, and then this. If I were to not have a 6th slot, then it wouldn't be worth it to have the multicast. So imagine these 5 were the only ones. This right here would be the same thing as having this, but I have 6, so that's better. I gotta get close so it lands all of them. Maybe I put these in the wrong order. Double spells. How does that work? Spells per cast don't spell warp on its own. The 1 spell per cast is also applied when spell warping. What is the per cast one for that? I don't see a per cast. Cast a spell with a final recharge time of 0 seconds using only 1 chainsaw. 1 chainsaws. This seems simple. I'm surprised if it would not work. Yeah, that's what I thought it would be. So it seems that a very low recharge time combined with a double spell reduces it to nearly 0, or actually 0. Deal 90 or more damage per second to the target dummy. Combining multicast and spell warp with a chainsaw can result in extreme rapid fire. Combining multicast and spell warp with a chainsaw can result in extreme rapid fire. The chainsaw's recharge time reduction can be applied twice by spell warping it. Let's see. I'm guessing this, and then this, and then this. So this will be the main damage, and then the chainsaw will be useful not for its damage, but for the recharge time. And then this will apply the chainsaw's recharge time onto the spark bolt. Hopefully that's actually how it works. Let's see. Not at all. Maybe the chainsaw first. Nope, still no. Oh, okay. So the recharge time is the main thing I want. So it will be the first thing, and then I will use the recharge time to apply it to everything. So next thing will be double spell. So the double spell will take the recharge time of the first item, the chainsaw, and apply it to this. Okay. Deal 75 or more damage per second to the target dummy. Multicasting spell warped chainsaws can result in major reductions to recharge time. I think that it's going to be quadruple spell. And then a bunch of the chainsaws. No, just one chainsaw. And then a bunch of spark bolts. It's not working the same as it was. Oh, that's because it's probably not in the right order. This is 300, 1000 max mana. In the last challenge it was working. See, with this order, it will do the multi-fire. But in this one it won't. The exact same setup. What are the tips? Multicasting spell or chainsaws. One of these does 3 damage. So this has a timer, 1.5 seconds. This is minus 17. Probably 5 of these to reduce it to like 0 or something. So, okay, let's test it out without that. So with these 4, these chainsaws, okay, I only need 4, right? No, even more. So it's this one, and then this activates these 4. And then after it's really low, then I can activate this. So the speed from these chainsaws, this activates all of them at once. So then that applies the speed to this. But for the speed to be applied, this card activates this card and applies it to this card. So now I just gotta aim it and try and get 75. It's not accurate, but it still does a lot of damage. Explosion damage introduction. Deal almost exactly 105 explosion damage in one hit to the target dummy. What are the tips? Explosion damage is inaccurate and misleading. Explosion damage is roughly 400% exaggerated on spell cards. Explosions deal 25 of what is stated. Well, I don't see the reason for that. In one hit, okay. Probably take this off because that makes the damage less. Take that off again. Take more of these off. Still not enough. Projectile. So it's a projectile. Perhaps the missile will carry the static thing there. Sort of a bit too much damage actually. Maybe this will be better. It's still too much damage. So it wants it to be exactly or almost exactly 105, and right now I'm over the limit. I gotta go down in damage. Hopefully this is enough. Alright, that's good. Deal 300 or more damage to the target in a single hit. So now it doesn't have to be exactly, it can be over. Modifiers that increase explosion radius can drastically increase a projectile's explosion damage. 2 or more explosive projectile modifiers applied to almost any spell activates this buggy behavior. Burst of air seems useless. So I need as much damage as possible. This seems... oh, it's probably not useless. It has the most damage. Maybe I'll just put a bunch of modifiers on this. And the last one will be the actual thing. .75, that's not enough. Not at all. Well, the projectile wouldn't go after, would it? Yeah, it wouldn't work that way. Maybe it'll work better this way. Yeah. So burst of air was actually useless. Okay. Explosion damage. Deal 300 or more damage to the target in a single hit. Certain projectiles are lacking explosion definitions and instead default to unstable parameters. These particular projectiles only need a single explosive projectile to activate this buggy behavior. Alright. Velocity damage. 100 in one hit. Some spells do more damage based on how fast they're moving. Velocity damage is based on the discrepancy between their starting velocity and their impact velocity. Only projectile type is scaled. Slice damage, for example, is not. Okay. So speed it up. I'll probably need those. I got 5 slots. A very fast arcing projectile. Okay. So if I bounce it off the wall, it increases the speed as it goes. So it'll be more damage than if I were to just hit it. If I just hit it, it's 129. If I bounce it off the wall, if I could manage to do that, it's 267. Deal 10,000 or more damage in a single hit. Maximum velocity requires maintaining a balance of speed downs and acceleration ups. Slow the projectile using heavy shot and accelerating shot until it no longer fires. Then add speed ups and light shots to remove any heavy shots and accelerating shots until it fires again. It's kind of weird wording. Which one does more damage? Arrow, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does this fire? Okay, so all I needed was for it to have a bunch of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. And then add this. So for it to actually be able to move away from me, I need 2 speed ups. Would it still do enough damage if I were to have this? So you don't really need any speed ups at all for this challenge, but in the actual Noita game, you would probably want to bounce between these. It seems at a good balance. If you have 4 slowdowns with the heavy shots, then 3 speed ups should make it actually maneuverable. And if you were to take them off, it just would fall. But if you get really close to the target, it does a bunch of damage. 11,000. So it would turn it into a melee weapon, and it wouldn't be really good. Velocity damage. Deal 10,000 or more to the target in a single hit. Did I just do this one? No, I did not. Gravity and anti-gravity effects initially speed up speed, enough to keep velocity projectiles alive. Some projectiles only require one of these modifiers, others require 2. The more of these you stack, the less the damage projectile will deal. So I'm guessing it wants me to bounce it off of the wall. Or anti-gravity and gravity. What does anti-gravity do? Let's stack a bunch of these to see the effect better. You can see it curves upwards. And then if you were to add a slowdown, it makes the path less curved. So if I shoot it downwards, it'll still go up. That's just because of how much anti-gravity it has. But I just need a bunch of damage to pass this challenge. Not enough, so more damage. Seems 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 heavy shots is enough. Okay, velocity damage homing. Maybe instead of an additional, I do another heavy shot. Seems like it's doing more damage, but it's having a harder time staying on top of it. I'm sure that if all of that were to stay on top of it, it would do a ton of damage. I'm gonna add more homing. No, I think maybe a rotation would be better. This one, keep it on top for max damage. Accelerating is required. Heavy shot adds damage. Homing modifiers can be stacked. Additional projectiles for easy damage. Ideal balance with speed and gravity. Shooting directly downwards will help maintain the lifespan of the projectile. Okay. From the last one, I remember it was 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. And 1. Boom, boom. This will help keep it on top of it. Pierce, keep them alive. And then the actual damage. 4, because that's how much I can cast at a time. To spell flux it or whatever it's called. 3.2, that's the highest so far. Okay, so it looks like he does the multicast before that, okay. So he's using the multicast on the modifiers, not on the actual projectile. Okay. Reaching at 11,000 highest so far. 13,000 highest. Seems it's really close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6,000, 7,000, 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, 13. Seems to be stuck at like the 10,000 range. Perhaps that has enough speed, so now it just needs to stick on it better. Not sure. I'm going to test out. Need another rotate. Probably has enough speed. Look at how fast those things are moving. I did it. 16,000. So I think the secret to this challenge is to get the right amount of everything and also do it in the right order. So these modifiers, heavy shot, apply the damage modification. It'll slow it down. And then the piercing, so at this point the piercing and damage and the slowdown is added. And the next thing would be acceleration homing, so this will accelerate it as it moves on. And it will home in, so it will stay on target. And then next, 4 will be rotate towards, so that will maintain its speed a lot better than homing or anything. And then quadruple spell, that will be put onto the modifiers instead of the actual projectiles. The projectile is pretty weak. 5 damage, 3 damage turned into 15, 17 million. How does that happen? That doesn't happen with projectiles, that happens with the modifiers. So the spell is put onto the modifiers, these ones specifically, because these ones will maintain the speed. And in maintaining the speed, it will maintain the damage. So once you have the right order and the right amount, well, right amount, if you were to have any more than these of the heavy shot, it would be too slow. The projectile wouldn't even move. So once you have it all set up, okay, well, I restarted challenge just to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This, that, and then rotate 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and acceleration, pierce, and then accelerate, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one of these, and then the rest would be this. I'm missing one. I'm not sure which one. Oh yeah, now another homing. Homing is better than rotate for damage. Homing is better than rotate for damage because of the damage, and that's what I need for this challenge more than anything else. And acceleration, it comes after piercing so that the projectile lasts longer. So once you have your thing set up, then the next thing, you start off from far away. It will take longer to get to it, and then after you shoot your first projectile, you go a little closer, and then after that, a little bit closer, and a little closer, 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 and closer. You might have to try that a few times to get it the right way. And just like that, the challenge is complete. I just did 16,000 damage. The next one, deal 1 billion damage or more to the target dummy. Oh, it's total damage done not in a second. It's not traveling away from the cursor. I think I need more speed. The mana takes forever to recharge. So for this one, I basically did the same setup for last one, except that this time I had the chainsaws to speed up the charge time. And instead of having accelerated homing, I didn't have that, so I just did a regular accelerating shot. And now the total needed is a 1 million, and I'm just about there. And challenge complete. Okay, what is the next challenge? Deal 528 billion or more total damage. Wow. But I can pick any that I want. Alright. If I can pick anything I want. Alright, what are the next challenges? Deal 141. Wait, how many is that? 100,000, 100 million, 100 billion, 100 trillion, 100. Wait. Am I reading this right? Hundreds, 100,000s, 100 millions, 100 billions, 100 trillions, 100 quadrillions, 100 pentillions. I don't know if that's a real number. I'm not attempting that. And then this is 100, 100,000, 500 billions. I don't feel like going for that. That's about it. Perhaps with the selection available, literally anything, I'm sure it's possible. But I don't think that, that's like, it seems like overkill for the game. I don't know if that's required to beat the game, that level of damage. I learned a lot with this spell lab, and hopefully you did too when you watched. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see similar content, consider subscribing. I'm probably going to be playing a lot of Noita, so I look forward to that. Thank you, and goodbye.